I always do that. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. I am. Every time that I give what I gotta supply that fire. I do. And welcome to that new fire. Bookmarks with Bump. What's going on, bookworms? It's your host, Sean Bump Cote. I'm here, and this is the first episode of 2025. And it's a wild one right off the rip. Obviously, a big part of this show is my sports stoogery, so you all know that I'm tuned in with the sports world. And Wednesday night, New Year's Day, was supposed to be the Peach Bowl, and that was postponed, and that's how I first learned of what had happened on New Year's Eve. And that was just the tip of the iceberg of what had happened. In New Orleans, the tragic events that took place in New Orleans, New York City, Las Vegas, two things in New York City. It's, and I'm going to skirt away from the details because what we do on this podcast is provide a distraction. But this is exactly why I talk about what we talk about. The way things seem to be and how they are, I do have a feeling that they differ from one another. This all seems so calculated and coordinated. We have to be prepared. And that's what a big portion of everything that I talk about falls into, is being prepared. Being healthy and physically fit is not just a vanity thing. It's really, it shouldn't be a vanity thing. Your goals shouldn't surround vanity. When they surround something other than vanity, something that's attainable and reachable, oftentimes vanity comes as a side effect of the work. But there is always a goal with your fitness. And one of the main things for being fit and healthy is being alive. And that is a wide, encompassing, broad term, being alive. That can mean so many things. But I just think a lot of endurance and strength training really falls into a survival thing. And maybe that's something that we're up against. Some sort of martial law effect, one or the other. This is just a crazy way to start the year. It makes you wonder what in the world is going on, from the United Healthcare CEO assassination to terrorist attacks on New Year's Eve. And it's all happening here. The drones. We still don't know what the drones are. The biggest thing about the drones is that there's speculation that they're searching for a nuclear bomb that was smuggled into the country. How do you smuggle a nuclear bomb into the country? That's a great question. Or is this just a ruse and a story that they're pushing to make us fearful? Is this fear mongering? When I look up at the TVs, I see ESPN. That's the first TV I look at when you're at the gym on New Year's morning. Like, I had no contact when I woke up. I woke up, didn't look through my phone, just got up and head to the gym. That was the main goal of how I was going to start New Year's, is doing the same thing that I always do. And I'm there. I'm looking up. They have TVs all over the place. I'm looking at the TV, and boom, you see ESPN, Sugar Bowl postponed. I look at the other TV, which happened to be CNN and MSNBC news, Fox News programming everywhere. Programming, all telling the same story. A truck drove from over the Mexican border into New Orleans and mowed down people, which is sad, which is tragic. And they had an ISIS flag. So there's a terrorism attack on U.S. soil. while there's drones flying over U.S. soil and people are suspecting an Iranian bomb. What does this all mean? Oh, what are the threats and what is the diversion? What is a psyop, as some people would say it? Some people won't say it. I don't care. I'll say what I say, and it's upsetting because they use innocent people as it makes it forbidden to speak about these types of things because people die. And that's sad. It is. And that's why it's a tragedy. And that's also what makes it an infinite times more upsetting. It's upsetting. It really is, nonetheless. And we are only a day, 2 days, 3 days into the new year. But we're going to distract ourselves from that and from what they're doing to us, because when everything hits the fan, are you ready? And that's what this is all about, being prepared for life. When you talk about mental health and facing challenges, and when you talk about physical health and challenging yourself, it's all about being prepared for situations you might find yourself in life. In life, you're going to need strength, whether it's for working, whether it's for raising children, no matter what it is. I mean, think about if you're a dad and you're out of shape and you're listening to this. I don't mean to call you out, but think about how much better it would feel to play with your kids when you are in shape, in just as good shape as your children. Nothing's more fun than running around with my little nephew and just jumping all over the place. He shoots me, bang, you're dead. Okay, well, I'm physically fit enough to withstand a fall, so I'm going to make this real believable for the kid. I beat myself up for him. But that's fun. That's fun. And having the confidence and the capability to be able to take those bumps and bruises, that's what being prepared is. That's what we do this for. And it's the same thing with how you approach life and your mindset. When you prepare yourself for the bumps and bruises of life, which can hit harder than any fall, it's about being prepared. So I did pick out topics, and you know what? I'm glad we're going to get to them, because I don't want to talk all about conspiracies and just attacks and conspiracies of what these attacks are for. It's just so odd. It's strange behavior. It's not how you want to see your society acting. It's not what you want to believe in. It's sad. It's sad, and it's nonsense, and it's all the more reason we should be prepared if anything were to come up where we find ourselves in some type of life or death situation. And it's important to be informed, but stay away from the opinion crap that they give you. Like, find the information. Information is news. News is information. News is not people's opinions being forced upon you. In the New Year thing, so Happy New Year. Here we are in 2025. Every day is a new year. Every day is a new challenge. If you're going to set yourself up for a goal, if you set yourself up for a year-long goal, you better have a goal every day that you need to hit, because a year is a lot of leeway time. We give ourselves a lot of time to mess around when 365 days is what we're looking at on the calendar. One by one is what you're looking at the calendar. You set your goal each day. You know what you need to do to get to the bigger picture, but how do you start? It's all a puzzle. Life is a beautiful, beautiful puzzle. We are all a piece of the puzzle, and everything you do is a piece of the puzzle that you're creating. So what pieces do you move each day? Last week, we talked about exercise and ways that you're going to need to operate in order to get yourself fit and healthy. This week, we're going to go into more of the nutrition side of that. I have a thread here that I labeled as Burn Baby Burn. We're on fire. You know what I mean? So, we're going to get into From the Better Path, the harsh truth, which is no matter how much you exercise, what we talked about last week, you won't lose fat until you fix your diet. But most people don't realize there are simple ways to enhance results. Here are 10 cheat codes that will help make your fat loss easier. So let's get into these 10 cheat codes from the Better Path. Limit alcohol. It's a fat loss killer. We've said this ad nauseum when it comes to losing weight and getting your body healthy and right. Alcohol is such a major deterrent for anything good. However, the thread goes on to say it throws off fullness signaling by wrecking your sleep and leptin sensitivity. Leptin is the hormone that makes you feel full. The less your body recognizes that leptin, the more of a garbage disposal you become. And listen, I've been there. And it's not worth it. I'll tell you what. The way I live today is worth it. This leads to more cravings and overeating, making it hard to lose fat. It also shuts down fat loss, as described in the video, which you can find going through the description in the thread. When we have a video component to the podcast, this will be something that we can hone in on a little bit here. 2 is intuitive fasting. If you know that you're going to be out to eat or going to a social event, fast or only have protein shakes beforehand that day. This will save you a ton of calories to spare for dinner and allow you to hit your calorie goals in tough situations. Calorie goals are important. Yes, protein goals are the most important. That's why he's saying protein shakes. You don't necessarily have to have protein shakes. You could have any sort of lean protein and really just gauge yourself at where you're at. And this is what the food tracker did that was so helpful for me in the first 2 years. I think I used it for about 2 years before I kind of intuitively have began eating, which is what he's talking about here. And I mean, I'm kind of like a robot or a machine. I told myself at one point, years and years ago, food is not pleasure, food is fuel. That's what we have to remind ourselves when it comes to those times where we're very tempted, like the holidays, which there's a difference between overindulging and indulging, obviously, due to the prefix. What the hell? I think I was going to... binging, not just overindulging, but binging. Like, people binge alcohol not by drinking continuously, right? It's you drink one day and then maybe you drink 2 days later. That would be considered a little bit of a binge because you're still holding on there. The biggest thing is when you go from day to day to day to day, that is absolute binge drinking. You don't have to necessarily drink to get drunk, but you're drinking to get by. How many other sweets are you eating every day that you don't necessarily need to eat? And what are you celebrating? You know, people have cake every day when they have a donut. Same thing, just a little baby cake, flour and frosting. That's what you're looking at there. What are you celebrating every morning? Yes, I mean, well, hey, congratulations, you woke up. God bless. We're here to see another day. We got another chance, another new year, right? More goals. Goals are going to get accomplished throughout this next 24 hours, but that's nothing to throw a stick at your spokes for. 3, eat tons of potatoes. Potatoes are the most satiating food on the planet and loaded with nutrients. They're also low in calories, so they'll help you nail your calorie deficit. Make them a staple side when you're to lose fat. Yeah, I say potatoes over rice. Talk to me nice. Yeah, potatoes, they just look more filling because they're bigger. And that's the type of mind games that our body plays on us. Like when we're looking at a plate of food, you look at 700 calories of broccoli compared to 700 calories of rice. And it's going to kind of make you say, well, if I eat all of this, I don't think I'd be able to eat all of this broccoli. That's the mind game we play. The bigger the food looks, the more we think we're taking in. Also, the slower you eat, the better it is for you. 4 is eat a ton of protein. As we've once again, ad nauseum. Protein goals are the number one goal of any goal when it comes to losing weight and dieting. I mean, for me, throughout the holidays, I put on 2 pounds. Okay. The weekly weigh-in is in. I'm at 207. So I put on 2 pounds over the holidays here. And I'm very well defined, I'll say. Um, I don't, it's so weird to talk about yourself like that. Like, yeah, I'm jacked, bro. Like, it's, I, I look good. And I hit my protein goal every day, even when I eat 2 pieces of pumpkin pie or whatever it is that I'm enjoying for the occasion. I'm still hitting my protein goal every day, and that's the most important thing because protein is thermic. It helps you burn calories via digestion. Anabolic helps you build muscle, satiating, filling. Yes, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Eat the protein on your plate first. This will help you feel this will help you feel full sooner. It also helps regulate your blood glucose response to carbs in the meal, making you less likely to have cravings that cause you to overeat. Eat similar, nutritious, and high protein meals each day. I mean, I'm the king of that. Chew your food until it's liquid in your mouth. This will help you feel full sooner. Intermittent fasting and black coffee. Coffee curbs your appetite, gives you energy, and makes it easier to set yourself up to be in a calorie deficit. This intermittent fasting can be anywhere from 14 to 16 to 20 hours. Be smart about it. You want to, if you work out and lift weights, you're going to want to eat a meal about 2 hours to 2 to 3 hours before your workout. So plan your fast around your day. Take post-meal walks. We've talked about this with insulin resistance. It burns calories, but most people don't realize that it also helps regulate postprandial blood sugar response and improve digestion. It's a free, low-effort hack that has a plethora of benefits. And last but not least, number 10 is eat filling, high volume, like we talked about with the broccoli, low-calorie foods, potatoes, strawberries, blueberries, watermelon, all veggies, 93 and 7, or leaner ground beef and turkey. Chicken breast, tuna, salmon, cod, other seafood. Greek yogurt's great. Cottage cheese is great. Egg whites are amazing. And whey protein. I eat about 76 eggs a week, and that's due to the fact that I eat 5 egg whites when I eat eggs. 3 eggs, 5 egg whites. Eggs is the main source of my protein, and it's a complete protein. It has every single amino acid that you need. And another thing that you need to do, especially if you're working at a desk. So this is a different thing. So I'm very active day to day. A lot of people that live a sedentary lifestyle that still work out and go to the gym and maintain a good physique can pick up a few pounds over the holiday because of the fact that they sit down at a desk for work constantly. I'm always up and moving. That's the benefit of being a tradesman in the beautiful Department of Labor. The moving around, the wrenching, the heavy lifting, I love a job like that. That's why I think I'll always, no matter what I do something physical. It is just so easy for me to stay engaged and move. It's the perfect way to maintain a career while having adult ADHD and the body of a squirrel man who's just always on the move looking for something to do. What the hell am I even talking about, man? But there are 7 exercises I found that your body needs after sitting a lot. And I think this is a great thread for me to share. Yes, we're balancing the nutrition and exercise all in one episode, all encompassing fitness guru ideation here. So everybody follow me for the 7 exercises your body needs after sitting a lot from Morale Fitness. Wizzies Fitness. Shout out to Fit Morale. Number 1 is the reach forward, reach up, where you start in a almost like a omoplata squat position. and you raise into a parallel leg squat position and stick your arms out. These are all demonstrated in the thread. If you're listening to this podcast and you're not following along with the threads, you're doing it wrong. When the video edition of this podcast comes in, it's going to be me in one picture and the thread in the other. And we're going to read it together. I'm going to be able to point things out to you, pull up the videos. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful transformation. Reach forward and reach up. Then you have the dynamic 90-90 hip twist, which is basically windshield wipers with your hips. You're sitting with your hands back behind you. Your body's at about a 45-degree angle, but you're directly on your buttocks. Your feet are in front of you, and you're just dropping your knees to the ground one side after another. Squatting side bends, you get down into a squat, hands behind your head. What would I call this? Bend your body from side to side using your obliques to dip your elbows below your knees. Number 4 is the scorpion stretch, where you're lying flat down on your face. You are bending your leg up towards your head and then over across your other leg. You do that on both sides. A pretzel with a head turn. You have both your legs in opposite 90-degree angles, and you're stretching out everywhere from your core to your neck, which is probably tight from staring down at a keyboard all day. The head to the floor. So get in a squat and try to stick your head into your ass. And then the alternating leg downward dog, where you're kind of relieving stress from putting a little bit of the bend in the knee, and you're bicycling those little tootsies all along the way. You really need to go through the description or look up the exercises by name. Reach forward, reach up, dynamic 90-90 hip twist, squat side bends, scorpion stretch, pretzel with head turn, head to floor, alternating leg, downward dog. So there are 2 reasons to work out and exercise. One of them is for hypertrophy, which is the act of building muscle. The other is for functionality, and that encompasses everything from needing to get rage out to actually being able to move from day to day. These would be considered functional exercises because they are dynamic stretches that are focusing on areas that could be targets of muscular imbalances. The things we do throughout the day, this is why they tell you to lay on your back and fall asleep on your back. You get to rest at a standing position. Think about the fact that you're in one place for anywhere from 4 to 8 hours for one given time. Your body's going to get tight over time. Imagine sitting down like that. You're going to have to get up and move around, so on and so forth. When we're sitting, our muscles become tightened, which is overstretched or understretched, lengthened or shortened muscles need to be stretched accordingly. And that is how you work out your muscular imbalances, and that is how you avoid injury for life, for functionality, to be able to move. You see people with things like knock knees or bow legs. That's often due to sitting in certain positions. We can have atrophy in muscles from laying a certain way. You could atrophy your shoulders. The list is never ending. They had the big movement to not sit on your wallet because of what it did to your back. That would be a muscular imbalance over time. So these are all the kinds of things that you need to look for and watch for when it comes to life and living and being prepared. As we started all this, we are staying prepared, and let's stay prepared for the final week of the 2024-2025 NFL season.
Here we go! Buck, here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!
Yeah, here we go, week 18. So weird saying week 18 after getting accustomed to saying week 17 after a 16-game season for so long, but nonetheless, we are here, the final week, and Saquon Barkley is ruled out. He will not be participating in the last game of the season, so he will not be going for the 101 yards he needs to best Eric Dickerson's record, which I think is a very scary sign. The Eagles are determined and on a mission. No matter what, they will be playing in the wild card round. They did not make the number 1 seed, but they did clinch the NFC East division. They have wrapped that up. They're the winners, and they will be heading to make a playoff push, which they are all determined for. Jalen Hurts is going to sit out this week after suffering the concussion 2 weeks ago, getting some extra rest and hopefully some extra reps. It's important to stay sharp out there, as we noticed from the college football playoff. I brought it up earlier before. The game that was postponed ended in a shocking, but not really that shocking because Notre Dame has kind of been on a tear. Win for Notre Dame over Georgia. Then you can go over and watch Ohio State beat Texas. Penn State beat Boise. I'm sorry, Ohio State is playing Texas. Wow. Ohio State beat Oregon, who beat them earlier in the season in a one-possession game. This one was not much of a thriller. Ohio State played their best game of the season against Oregon and beat them into submission, to be honest with you. Earlier in the day, we saw Texas take on Arizona State. The interesting thing about the college football playoff, and I know I'm bouncing around a little bit here, but I wanted to talk about this before I go into what I'm really going into on Week 18, because starters are out. We're going to miss a lot of key players, so we're not going to really dive into the games as much. What we are going to dive into right now are the games about the college football playoffs. Let me stay on track. Yeah, Texas withstood a double overtime thriller against Arizona State. Ohio State beat Oregon 41-21, and Notre Dame beat Georgia. Penn State beat Boise State. All of the top 4 seeds who got the bye lost in the college football playoff. That is the interesting thing that I needed to point out there. Ohio State, yeah, they played their best game. This the 8 seed taking on the 1 seed and demolished them by 20 points. Texas and Arizona State, that was a game, man. It was not good for Arizona State. This guy I fell in love with over the last couple of weeks, Cam Skattebo, is just a dog. He did everything for Arizona State, including passing for 42 yards, 1 for 1, 42 yards and a touchdown. He carried the ball 30 times for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he also caught 8 receptions for 99 yards. He was the team's leading rusher, receiver. And, I mean, he might as well have been the leading passer because the touchdown pass that he threw is the pass that broke the whole game open. Texas was up 17-3 at the half. And then Arizona kind of has this sticky third quarter where they go out there and they get a safety on Texas and they kick a field goal and put up another 5 points. So going into the fourth quarter, it was 17-8. And then the fourth quarter starts and it's like the show is continuing. Quinn Ewers has a 5-yard run. He runs one in himself and he did not have a bad game. As a matter of fact, there was mishap after mishap for Texas. They had many chances to close it out and just didn't. Anyhow, after that Quinn Ewers run, that's when Cam Skattebo threw his pass and broke the game open. They went for the 2-point conversion. They did make it. Sam Leavitt kind of really had the game of his career here. He didn't look bad at all. He didn't throw for a touchdown. He did throw 1 interception, but that's nothing to really shake a fist at in like the biggest game of your life, right? Skattebo would go on to run another 2 touchdowns and get a lead over Texas, 31-24. Well, they go into overtime, 24, tied at 24, and Skattebo would get the lead early, and Texas just came back after that. a little bit of a reprieval for Brett Auburn, who ended up going 1 for 3. 2 crucial fourth quarter field goals that he missed that could have ended the game on one and gave them a lead on the other. He missed them both in the fourth quarter late, and that really kind of gave Arizona State the hope. If anything, this was kind of a Cinderella team, but not really. Just like Boise State, like they're great programs. They're always showing their face. Coach Kenny Dillingham for Arizona State really has a glow about the team, which you kind of notice with the Detroit Lions. But they got themselves into the 4th seed. They won their division. They earned the position, and they came up a little bit short over Texas. And then you have the 1 seed Oregon just completely dropping the ball. Ohio State, when they made a tackle, they just hit different. They really were fired up for this game. Will Howard threw for 319 yards on 17 passes, and that's due to Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith. These guys are unbelievable. Jeremiah Smith, the cousin of Geno Smith, 7 receptions, 187 yards with 2 touchdowns, which is just incredible. Not the Rose Bowl record that belongs to Jackson Smith and Jigba, another Ohio State alum. So they just have a wide receiver factory over there. Georgia just coming into the game with Gunnar Stockton, kind of maybe he wasn't ready for the biggest moment. He didn't have a terrible game at all, though. I mean, he completed 20 of 32 passes. He just got crushed. He took a lot of punishment in this game, and Notre Dame did what they do best. They just ran the ball incessantly, 37 carries for the team for 154 yards. Their defense was just suffocating. So, congratulations to Notre Dame for advancing. Go Irish. And we have games coming up next week to look forward to. On Thursday, Notre Dame plays Penn State. Some people are calling that the Epstein Bowl. And Ohio State plays Texas to set up the Monday, January 20th College Football National Championship. What we have setting up the Super Bowl championship is Week 18, starting with 2 divisional games, which have playoff implications. The Bengals and the Steelers, and the Browns and the Ravens. Every single game this week is a divisional game, which is awesome. I love that. Save that for Week 18 when people are resting their smart starters. That's a great way to schedule this entire deal. I mean, anyway, going into 2025 just complaining. Listen, I'm human. Not every day is perfect. But we do have playoff clinching scenarios for Week 18. What's already clinched in the AFC is Kansas City is the number 1 seed, and they get the first round bye and home field advantage. They're currently at a record of 15-1, going to looking to go 16-1 with Carson Wentz starting, or 15-2 heading into the playoffs. The Bills have clinched the 2 seed at the AFC with the AFC East. The Texans have clinched the AFC South and the number 4 seed. The Ravens, Chargers, and Steelers all have clinched a playoff berth. So we're kind of just waiting for who number 4 is. Baltimore clinches the AFC North Division title and the number 1 seed with a win or a tie and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. The Pittsburgh Steelers can still claim the AFC North title if Baltimore loses and Pittsburgh wins. So that would give them the 3 seed. Cincinnati Bengals can clinch a playoff berth win with a Cincinnati win, Denver loss, and Miami loss or tie. So, now think about that. The Bengals, I tell you guys to think about a lot of stuff, but that's what we do here on Bookmarks with Bump. We just sit down and think. The Cincinnati Bengals, they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they get that win, that also helps out Baltimore to clinch the 3rd seed. But they also have to depend on the Broncos to lose, and they're playing Kansas City and Carson Wentz. and Miami to lose. Miami is playing the New York Jets, and they are starting Snoop Huntley again, who did not have a bad game at all in his last start. So I don't know if you're the Bengals, if you're really expecting yourself to get into the playoffs here. The Broncos, who are playing the JV team of the Chiefs, get into the playoffs. So this is a very interesting position to be in. This is a very opportunistic position to be in. If you are the Denver Broncos, it is a division game, but it doesn't matter to the Chiefs at all. They already have their road into the playoffs with the with the bye. They're gonna rest guys, so they have a really great shot to win this game. So they clinch with a win and a Miami loss or Cincinnati loss. I'm sorry. They can either clinch if they win. If they win, they clinch. And there's no way that the Dolphins can get in or the Bengals. Or if the Bengals and Dolphins both lose, they can also get into the playoffs in that way. So these three teams, the Bengals, Dolphins, and Broncos, are all vying for the 7th seed there, and they will end up playing the Bills. So they're all trying to punch a ticket to play the Bills. And the Ravens and Steelers are looking for 3 or 5. They're going to be 3 or 5. Now we go to the NFC and we look at who clinched. The Eagles clinched the number 2 seed in the NFC East. The Rams clinched the NFC West. The Lions, Packers, Vikings, and Commanders have all clinched a playoff seed. So there's one team there's one spot left for a couple of teams to vie for a spot. We have no winner of the AFC North yet. The Detroit Lions clinched the NFC North and the number 1 seed first round bye with a win. The Vikings clinch the NFC North and the number 1 seed and the first round bye with a win. Oh, I thought there might have been some possibility for the Packers there, but there's not. The Packers will stay at the 5 seed more than likely. So the Lions win, they're number 1. Vikings win, they're number 1. They get a bye. They're playing for a rest week here. And then you have the Falcons. The Falcons clinched the NFC South and 4 seed with an Atlanta win and Tampa Bay loss. And all Tampa has to do this week against New Orleans Saints, who are 5-11, is win. They could also lose, and if the Falcons lose, they're also in the NFC South Division champions. That would take up all the spots then. So then you have the Commanders at 7, the Vikings at 5, or the Lions at 5, or at 1. They both have a chance to be 1 or 5. And then the Rams will more than likely be 3, leaving the Falcons or Bucs to be 4. And that's going to shape up what we're looking at going into the playoffs. If we can see the playoff picture here at this point, it would either be the Broncos, the Dolphins, and the Bengals against the Bills. If it ended today, the Ravens would then play the Steelers. Now that would be, no matter what, pretty much no matter what in this game, in this Ravens and Steelers game, they're going to have to play each other right away, again, for the 3rd time this season. And then you have the Texans playing the Chargers. So, the Colts, Jets, Raiders, Jaguars, so on and so forth are all gone. In the NFC, the Lions would play nobody. They'd take a rest. The Eagles would play the Packers. The Rams would play the Commanders. And the Vikings would play... Oh, I didn't add the Buccaneers or Falcons. There we go. The Eagles would play the Packers still. The Rams would play the Commanders. And yeah, so the Buccaneers or the Falcons are playing to win. Whoever wins, they're playing for a chance to play the Vikings or the Lions. Both just dominant teams with a 14-2 record as today stands. So those are the playoff incentives. Now, we've talked about gambling a lot before. Funny Guys, money lines. That was the gambling thing. If you are gambling, let me just point out some incentives, and this is what you should be watching for this week. These will be the most exciting parts of any of these games. Watch the Falcons game. Watch the Bucs game. Those teams that are playing to either win the division or get a spot into the playoffs, those are the games to focus on. We talked about those, the Bengals, the Broncos, the Falcons, the Buccaneers. And then the Detroit Lions and Vikings game, that's going to be the game to watch this week. Both these teams with just high-powered offenses, crazy defenses. Yeah, these guys are animals. Now, the Week 18 is a big deal in the gambling world because you don't know what teams are resting, who to bet on, who to gamble on. You should know what players. There are contract incentives at stake, and these ones just happen to be the biggest money, and I think these guys are really going to try for these. Mike Evans needs 5 receptions, 85 receiving yards, and he wins $3 million. That's crazy. He doesn't win it. He earns it. It's part of his contract. All these players have incentives in their contracts to make them work a little bit harder. Von Miller, 1 sack equals $1.5 million. Geno Smith, 185 passing yards, $2 million. Wow. I don't think they're playing for anything aside from pride, but man. Are they on the bubble? Let me look. Yeah, no, they're eliminated. Man, that stinks. But he'll probably play. It's good to flex a little. They got an 8-7 record. Why not? They got a 9-7 record. No matter what, they're fine. They're gonna be fine. These guys are gonna be fine. All right, so let's see. I want to see if I can string something along here. Geno Smith, 185 passing yards. All right, lines aren't out for players yet. I was going to see what the parlay of all these things together would be. I can't do that right now. I'll leave it in the description because I'm sure it'll be up by Sunday. So I'll leave it in the description when I post this Sunday. Be on the lookout for that. But we'll start from the top. Mike Evans needs 5 receptions and 85 receiving yards to gain $3 million in this year's contract. Von Miller needs 1 sack to earn $1.5 million this season. Geno Smith, 185 passing yards will equal $2 million earned through contract incentives. Kyler Murray needs 50 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown to earn $750,000. DeAndre Hopkins, if he gets 9 receptions, 140 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown, he'll have $250K off of each of those, so $750 total. Tony Pollard, to earn around $500,000, needs 83 rush yards and 2 rush touchdowns. Tyjae Spears is out for the Titans, and they are playing the Jaguars. No, they're not. I knew I messed that up. They're playing the Texans. That makes it a little bit tougher. But I actually heard that the Texans are resting people. I heard that listening to the Pat McAfee show. They could be resting people going into this, which Coach Chuck Pagano did not like the thought of that because they need to string together some wins and gain some momentum heading into the playoffs. He doesn't have very, very high hopes for them the way they're playing right now. So he would like to see their starters playing. But it looks like they're going to rest. And if that's the case, Tony Pollard for 2 touchdowns. I mean, if he's trying to earn $200,000 off of that, why don't you put down $5? See what you could earn. Yeah, no lines for players yet, but I'll leave it in the description when you check this out on YouTube. While you are checking it out on YouTube, could you please leave a like and a comment? And if we hit on this incentive parlay, we're going to Sizzler, baby. As always, please like, rate, and subscribe on your platform of choosing. Leave some feedback. Let me know how you're liking the podcast. You could email me at bookmarkswbump@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at bumpofTTS. And as always, thank you so much. Again, I always say as always. This is my goal for today, is to stop kicking my own ass. And as always, it's all love. God bless. Thank you for listening to another episode of Bookmarks and Bump. Oh, man. Happy New Year. Keep your head on a swivel. Stay prepared out there. It's important.
Show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I've been riding, wave like I surf. I've been leaning in and out of work. I could show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear to God I get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire. I supply that fire, man. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear to God I get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear to God I get higher, man.